Yo, you know, yeah, that's pretty much the sound that I'm watching you pull your hair out. Can I watch you do it again, David? Can I watch you pull your hair out again? I can't. I don't have the hair to pull. You know, if you think we're talking about Putin today, you're wrong. If you thought we're talking about Stalin, well, pretty close. Name is Mamdani, and he's the mayor of New York. But I'm not so surprised. And the reason why I'm not surprised is because it's been a heavily Democratic city for, I don't know, de Blasio. Oh, it goes all the way back. But, rest assured, I think I'm shocked that they picked this guy on the Democratic side. But, hey, who am I? I live in Florida. He is probably the best thing for my real estate prices. And unfortunately, maybe some good food because some good people will be leaving. Hey, everybody. My name's Stuart Brisgell. That's David Solomon. This is the Rant Network, a platform with forthright, uncensored dialogue.
Forthright?
This program explores the broad spectrum of issues from current events, politics, discourse, and cultural trends, and the evolving fabrics of modern life. Each episode that David and I do, direct conversation, honest opinion, and willingness to challenge the convention. We invite you to take a seat, engage, and experience a thoughtful debate, encourage reflection and perspective. This is the Rant Network, where every voice has a value and no subject is beyond discussion. I got to tell you, David, I was not shocked that we today elected an anti-Semite, a Marxist, socialist. I would say on the cusp of he may be related to Adolf Hitler, literally. I mean, this guy is a psychopath. I have no hope for New York. I do have hope for New York. I hope everyone that voted for this sucker has buyer's remorse. And I hope that everyone that voted for him understands that they are worse off. And when they come to my great state of Florida, they will be shocked. They will be probably not happy. Not happy. All right, David.
I'm trying to adjust. Okay, Stuart, first of all, I want to thank you and AI for that wonderful introduction. Now, look, folks, I got to tell you, you might be sitting here today going, okay, guys, you're bitching again. No, we're not bitching again. We're going to give you a reality check. Stuart, today, a disturbing message was circulating on social media in which ISIS expressed support for Mamdani's victory with a quote, "We in the Islamic State would like to express our sincerest excitement and deepest commendation for today's jihad in New York City and its valiant and righteous martyrs." Interesting.
Yeah.
Who's when you get applause from the wrong people, there you go. You got to ask yourself, what the heck is all that all about? When people are asking, which song should we play today? Billy Joel's New York State of Mind or the Beatles Back in the USSR? Like, what are we playing here today?
Wow, that's good. Dave.
Like, what are we doing here? Here's the reality, folks. I know that, the people that went out and voted, and you're going to look at the demographics and you're going to go, why are we not surprised? These are the people that went out and protested in the streets of New York about BLM. These are the people who protested in the streets about Black lives, about women's causes, and have been really galvanized by these movements. And Mamdani embraced them, and people thought it was a great idea. This is wonderful. This is what we want to be part of. But nowhere, at no time did people really sit down and analyze his policies. And oh, by the way, can he actually execute? Because, like many people, who controls power of what? People have no idea. Mamdani went around and said he can make free busing. He can't. That's not in his authority. He can suggest it. It's not in his authority. He could talk about all kinds of other things. That is sometimes state controlled, and even in some cases, federally controlled. Mm-hmm. And the idea of arresting Benjamin Netanyahu, for example, saying that he would arrest him, is not in his purview. That's not in his wheelhouse. But the sound bites were perfect because the useful idiots that Iran has called Americans bought it. Lock, stock, and barrel.
Yep.
Now, look, people are saying the stock market, was having a bad day. It's going to have bad days. It's a reaction to Mamdani. No, it's not. The stock market is not looking at Mamdani today and saying we're going to have a big sell-off. That's not what's happening. Stuart, your financial advisor, and that I'm sure you would concur. What is going to happen, though, is what you said is about a mass exodus, and already it started. And already people have already put their businesses for sale or looking to move. People are putting houses for sale. This isn't pure. This is not unmitigated. This is not a fear mongering. That was the word I'm looking for. What it is a reality. The reality of looking at places like in Europe, in which already you have these kind of movements happening. You look in Dearborn, Michigan, Dearborn, Michigan, where a Christian person was told by the mayor, a Muslim mayor of Dearborn, that he will celebrate when that Christian person leaves town. This is where we are heading. It's a shift. You see it in other places, but your media friends don't want you to know about this. Social media doesn't want you to see it because your algorithms are playing the same thing. Mamdani's great, Mamdani's great, Mamdani's great. Folks, what you're going to find out over the next few months as he takes office and he starts to do things in his first 100 days, you will get a sense of what he's really all about. All smiles, no substance, lots of hate.
That sounds like our West Coast governor.
Listen, I would tell you that Gavin Newsom may have offered some crazy ideas, but racism in that sense wasn't on his platform. Hold on. Racism. What I mean by racism is I did not hear that Gavin Newsom endorses anti-Semitism. And you would tell me,
no. Actually, David, you're actually incorrect. He allows and continues to allow the Berkeley, USC, and
That's not what I just said. It's not. Whoa.
As the governor.
Okay. Stuart. I heard you. I hear you. It's not what I said. Okay. There's a difference between letting it go and an endorsement. And I think that when you endorse anti-Semitism and you endorse an anti-Israel platform, which is exactly what Mamdani is doing, this is about inciting hate. This is about creating more.
You're giving Gavin Newsom a walk, and I think
I'm not giving him a walk.
Correct.
No, Stuart.
Silence is equal to the actual
I agree, Stuart. Silence and yelling are almost as equally as bad. I agree with you. But here's where I'm not gonna. I don't want to sit here and make this about Gavin Newsom.
It's not.
I'm talking about the end of America. If the United States doesn't go into a civil war, because it's going to happen in Europe, but if you go into a civil war, you're done. Look, I'll give you one more thing to think about, Stuart, and I'll pass you the ball. What Mamdani's win did today was destroy the Democratic Party of the United States. Because now, folks, you have a question to answer. Is this your platform in 2026? Are you now going to run a slate of people across the United States that Obama didn't endorse? We thought that the campaign was pretty good. But many in your party are now questioning, is this the winning ticket? Do we take socialism? Do we call ourselves now the Socialist Party of America, not the Democratic Party of America? Because is this now your platform? Is this the winning formula, to quote politicians, for you in 2026, 2028, and beyond?
So I can't. Well, we don't agree on a couple of things. It isn't. We do agree that it's not about Gavin Newsom today. It's about Mamdani. It's about the Social Democratic Party, which is the Socialist Party of America. Let's not call it the Democratic Party. I think that's a big mistake. I think that the party is up and turned upside down on its head. Mm-hmm. And I think that this is a great thing for the Republicans. I think that the Republicans, all things considered, did better in last night than they've ever done before. And I don't think that this was ever a shoo-in for the Republican Party in 3 blue ridings. So I thought it was a long shot to put a Republican to power. I thought it was, near a long shot that Mamdani would be the representative of the Democratic Party. But look, we got AOC. We got all these crazy psychos that have been put into power. But you want to know something, David? Here's a good thing. I, like you, grew up in the 80s, right? We grew up in the 80s. We're from the 70s, but we grew up in the 80s. We met people that came from the former USSR. We got to hear stories about there was shoes in the store and everyone ran to get shoes. There was meat, not what kind of meat, any kind of meat. And they would rate just like we're seeing in Gaza with the food trucks. New York City, this is going to tear it from limb to limb. You know what? I think this is either going to be the biggest sounding call which occurs in the United States every 25 to 50 years. There's a lean towards this socialist path that gets rebuffed every single time. That's my only hope. But in the meantime, what this guy is going to do to real estate in Florida is amazing. What's it going to do to the restaurants here in Florida? Even better. Because, we're going to get really good food. And you know what else we're going to get? We're probably going to no longer have what's going to probably be voted in is no more tax on real estate. And I gotta thank Mamdani. No, this has been a great thing for us who live in Florida. I got to look at the positive. Let New York burn. Let the woke, crazy people who have for a moment think that they're actually going to accept you versus hate you. This is the truth. There was a meme showing Mamdani pushing LGBTQIA looked like individual because it was a man wearing a dress with red, blue, green, orange, pink hair and pushing him off the Empire State Building to die. It is, there are so many memes out there, but at the end of the day, David, he promised things he cannot deliver, but unfortunately, the electoral population, are too stupid to actually remember what the guy said.
But it's not about stupidity. It's ignorance. And there's a difference. And I'll tell you why I bring this up. These are a lot of them well-educated individuals who went through university where professors professed that socialism is the only way to go. Capitalism is bad. Capitalism is bad. This is what they're promoting. And this is what Mamdani's promoting. And it's interesting because Mamdani comes from a very wealthy family and people are not paying attention to his upbringing, his background, his wealth, right? If people, it's fascinating what the media has given. In order for the Democrats to win, they have to make sure that things are hidden. And if the media would go after Mamdani the way they went after Donald Trump and Ted Cruz and all of these other Republicans that they simply can't stand, I'm not sure Mamdani is standing there today as the mayor of New York City, but Cuomo was a terrible idea. Terrible idea. Even
the
though
the Republican representative was even worse.
Sliwa, he wouldn't even if Sliwa walked away. Mamdani won this election. Mamdani won this election because of ignorance. And I'm not sitting here today saying to you it's a Republican versus a Democrat thing, and you can all accuse me of that. I talk about policies, and I ask myself, listen, you had no really good choices, people, okay? But to sit there today and to tell me that the best solution for New York City, the city that thrives on massive tourism, economics, banking, finance, all of these wonderful things, what do you think is going to happen now? You think there's going to be investment in New York? Do you think people are going to come in right now?
No, how about the 2 million? No, David, the 2 million rent-controlled apartments.
Right.
2 million rent-controlled. Now, are you familiar with those 2 million rent-controlled apartments? Let me tell you something, David. This is going to turn into BlackRock's dream because all these landlords are just going to walk away from these properties that are negative, because they're no longer going to be able to support the infrastructures of these buildings. You talk about crumbling buildings that happened in Florida called the Champlain Tower. Watch.
Well, look,
Watch
I think
what happens. They are going to be what's called taken over by the state. You know, housing in the Soviet Union was controlled by the state. That's what they called it. And that's exactly what he's doing or trying to do with those 2 million rent-controlled houses.
Look, I wish him, listen, if he gets his way, I know people will be happy. But I got to tell you, this is a very, very, very stark message to Americans. Look at Dearborn, Michigan, and what that mayor did. And it's not an isolated incident. And please, I'm just sick and tired of hearing you guys are Islamophobic. Fuck you. I'm not Islamophobic. Okay? Because Islamophobic, I'm not afraid of Muslims. I don't want to hear that kind of bullshit. But listen, watch, and evaluate for yourself. Why would a Muslim mayor demand that a Christian, and he called him out. Watch the video. It's out there. Watch the video. Watch that video and say, is this what you want? Because Mamdani will do that. Mamdani is going to do that. And if you want that in your community, great. I don't want it in my community. That's not Islamophobia. That's preserving my lifestyle. That's preserving my country, the ethics, the values that this country was built upon. And if you don't like that, please leave. I see Stuart's fingers twitching. So, folks, because Stuart is twitching, I must end my conversation right now.
Nope, it's because it's that time. And you know what it is? It's time to end this rant. David, that was a phenomenal monologue end, though. I will give you that. But I'm sorry to have cut you off. My finger is twitching on the button. And it's sitting, and I'm about to press it yet again. But David, any last thoughts?
No. You can cut us off right here. Have a good day, everybody.
It's been cut off, guys. It concludes another episode of the Rant Network. We sincerely appreciate your time and continued support. Your patience enables us to sustain this open, authentic environment and meaningful exchange. Join us every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern, where we continue to examine manners. Stay connected through all. Look to see you real soon.